influencing popular culture, politics, and everything in between. The local station takes you ringside as we discuss the crazy world that is professional wrestling. This is Going Ringside with The Local Station.
Hey there, thank you for joining us for another episode of Going Ringside. I'm your host, Scott Johnson. So glad you could be with us here today. Very excited about today's episode. With Swerve Strickland, who will be joining us here in studio shortly. Before we get to it, I want to talk to you about checking out us on @Going Ringside on TikTok and Instagram. We've got a lot of exclusive content there every single day. Hope you can check it out. Give us a follow. Stuff you won't see here on the podcast and stuff you do see. So give us a check out on @Going Ringside at both TikTok and Instagram. We, of course, will be putting exclusive content there every day. So excited to be joined today in studio by one of the biggest names in the world right now, one of the hottest names in the industry. That would be Swerve Strickland, AEW, one of their top guys. He wants to be their world champion, and he may in fact be their world champion before 2024 is done. We will have to see. Well, we're so glad to sit down with Swerve. He's such an interesting guy. He lived all over the world growing up in a military family, and he's, really passionate about being a musician, and becoming a globally famous wrestler has kind of helped with that in the last year. So it's been fascinating to watch his ascent from somewhat of a mid-card wrestler to global icon, which is really he's becoming, and he is not looking back in any way. He says he only wants gold. He wants to be a world champion. He wants to go as far as he can in this industry, and he's noticed things that are happening with his character that he needs to make sure that he embraces. One would be Prince Nana. If you want to pause and go watch viral TikTok dances of what Prince Nana is doing, everyone's doing it all over the world. It's all over TikTok, all over YouTube, all over social media, everywhere. And he realizes that we've got gold right here. We've got to keep going with it. So he has been doing just a tremendous job. They're back in Jacksonville on January the 10th. AEW is. That's where we're located here. That's where we shoot Going Ringside. So if you're in North Florida and want to check out the show, January 10th, AEW Tix is the place to get the tickets to see. They're going to be doing a Wednesday night Dynamite taping. It's a homecoming because if you didn't know, AEW based in Jacksonville, Florida, where Tony Khan and his dad also own the football team here, the Jacksonville Jaguars. So it's a big moment for AEW for their homecoming for a Dynamite on January 10th. Swerve will be there as he's in the process of battling Jon Moxley, and you'll want to hear what he has to say about Keith Lee is focused on him while he's focused on titles. Just a very good conversation with Swerve. Here is our interview with Swerve Strickland. Well, we're excited to be joined now by one of the best in the world, Swerve Strickland. Swerve, thanks for joining us and Going Ringside today.
Hey, thank you for having me, man. It's been awesome.
God, what 2023 has been like for you.
Yeah.
I mean, you're doing the indie circuit. You have some time in WWE. You're in Lucha Underground. And then you go to AEW. You win a tag title. Mm-hmm. But 2023 has been iconic for you. I mean, how does this happen for you?
Constantly competing, man. I try to compete. I try to compete not only with myself, but the stacked roster we have. We have legends. We have guys that are like pioneers of the business. And we have the future as well. That's a lot of competition to go against, not to mention the ladies that have been killing it in the company as well. And just finding ways to stand out and just make a difference and shake the business up.
So right now, and you may be watching this and it's dated, but kind of the big feud right now is the tournament for the title. You've been feuding with Moxley. Kind of where are things for you right in the company?
The Continental Classic has been phenomenal. It's been going on the past month, I would say, and it's going to culminate in Long Island for the finals for the new Triple Crown Championship.
Yep.
And Moxley was like my one bump in the road in the tournament. I had nothing but a clean sweep until I met with Jon Moxley, who it's a point system.
Now, I saw you had your shoulder was hurt during that match. Is that right?
Yeah, it hasn't been the same since Full Gear in November against
I want to get back to that in a second. That Full Gear match was match was iconic. But so, the bump in the road, was Moxley.
John Moxley, the ace of the AEW, the ace in the wrestling industry, I would say.
Yeah.
And he's a juggernaut, 3-time former AEW world champion. Took advantage of my shoulder, took advantage of the situation, pulling the tights to win. Still pissed off about it, but we're going to get back to it. And but
So
it's been awesome,
is
man.
your time with Mox not done? You're not going to let
Definitely.
this go.
Of course not. Of course not. I always get back to the people that wronged me in the past, and it gets can get a little crazy.
So you mentioned the Full Gear match. I literally just watched it as it was coming in. You and Hangman Page. Was that in Los Angeles?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I want to know the brutality to your body.
Yeah.
With the barbed wire, the chairs, everything. I've always wondered, what's that like the next day? You're waking up the next day.
It doesn't feel good. There's remedies to it to get you back into maybe a couple days, but the very next day is.
When you say remedies, what do you mean?
Oh, the salt baths, which suck because
you got salt in the open wounds.
Yeah. So, but you also got to get your joints, your muscles back to normal. You have very small time of recovery, turn around. But that's a mental thing. You got to mentally check out and go to a different place when you're even performing in matches like that, because you're not used to seeing so much blood leaving your body. It can be a shock to a lot of people. It can cause a lot of anxiety. Some people freak out and stuff. So it's just mentally charging your mind to really go into a place like that and be in control.
I don't want to miss my headline for this interview. Is we got a lot of Jacksonville viewers. Many of our viewers are here in Florida.
Yeah.
AEW coming to Jacksonville and Orlando in coming days. But talk to me about the Jacksonville event, January 10th. AEWTix.com. People can still get tickets.
Right over at Daly's Place, the building that's connected to the Everbank Stadium where the Jacksonville Jaguars play. Daly's Place is really important to where AEW during the pandemic in 2020. It's held us down for a year and a half and kept us afloat for us to be able to come out of that strong and touring again. So we want to give back to the community that helped AEW,
Other wrestling companies just essentially shut down.
Yeah, some never recovered.
Didn't recover. Some, and they couldn't have fans. They'd be on weird Zoom backgrounds. And it would drive me crazy when everyone would focus that. I'm like, AEW's had live crowds in Jacksonville every week. Do you think that helps sustain the company? Because it was hard for a lot of businesses to survive the pandemic.
Absolutely.
Do you think if Daly's Place was instrumental in the company surviving?
Oh, 100%. And the fact that we get to come back and give our thanks back to, the city of Jacksonville for coming through, helping out so much. We haven't been there since October of 2022. So that's about over a year, more than a year we get to come back. I've actually never even performed in Daly's Place yet. So January 10th, I look forward to actually facing off with somebody, whoever it's going to be.
Now, you guys have been all over the world as of late. We mentioned Los Angeles, Chicago, everywhere. Yeah. But we got to focus on London. The old record, I want to say, was a WrestleMania back in the day for fans. AEW Eclipse is that.
Yes.
What is that for the promotion? Because, there's the talk of WWE, AEW back and forth. AEW now has that crown jewel. We did 80,000 in London. What does that do for the company?
That makes national news.
Yeah.
Not just for the United States, but for the world. It climbs us out of the shadows of the potential of what we are. Yeah. We eclipse potential. And we've been doing that since the very first All In 2019. They can't sell out United Center in Chicago, and 30 minutes of tickets going on sale, boom, sold out. Then there's the next thing. You can't do it on a weekly basis. Oh, well, we do it. Then there's always these caps that people put on us, and we always break through.
Are you surprised? Because you spent, it's been 15 years in wrestling?
15, yes.
15. So to know that there's an alternative brand out there that didn't exist since WCW folded in 2001, what's that been like for the industry? I mean, everyone says right now this is an amazing time for pro wrestling fans.
It's competition. I think competition builds character. It makes everybody have to step their game up, whether it be the talent, whether it be Tony Khan himself, whether it be the competition itself in WWE. We want to compete and we want to showcase that there's another place to go and there's a different way of doing this, a different mentality and psychology to the wrestling business. And you can see it just on a Wednesday night, 8 o'clock, TBS, Saturdays, TNT, you know. Those are very big networks. Those are very big stations. Warner Brothers Discovery being partnerships. Those are very, very big, conglomerates that are pushing pro wrestling again, that are invested in pro wrestling. Once again, we haven't seen that in 20 years.
So if you go on wrestling social media any day, every single day it's a debate back and forth. WWE, AEW, WWE, a lot of it's toxic. Do you pay attention to it at all?
I filter it.
You do?
I do. I hear it and I see it. I don't acknowledge it always, but there's some good information in there, but there's a lot more that's like bad or nonsensical or just like just rumor mill stuff, like speculation, a lot of it. A lot of these people or these accounts people, whatever they aren't involved on a daily basis with what we're doing on either side.
So a lot of it's wrong.
A lot of it's wrong. A lot of it's speculation and stuff. So you're not on the road with us. You're not in the locker rooms with us. You're not, in these meeting rooms with either one of these companies. So a lot of it just like hearsay or the telephone game where like it was information that was correct, but then it went through 5, 6 different sources and it came out a completely different story on the other end. So a lot of things is just like, I always just tell people to just sit back and watch and enjoy and not try to be ahead of the game, but let the game come to you and just, see what you receive, report what you see.
On another note, as we sit here today,
Yeah.
MJF is your champion.
Yes. He's been doing a great job at it, by the way.
Sure. But do you think you could do better?
I always think I can do better. I always at least think I can do different.
Is that a feasible, possible match in 2024?
Without a doubt. Without a doubt.
Do you see yourself getting gold in 2024?
I do. And not just any type of gold. The AEW World Championship, because I said back in...
You're not looking mid-card.
No, I don't. I look only to the top. And I said middle of this year, if I would have got the opportunities that a Hangman Page would have gotten my first year, I would have been the first African-American AEW World Champion. And I do believe that I can still do that. And that is the only thing that is on my mind right now.
Talk to me about the importance of that, if and when that happens, the importance of being the first African-American AEW male champion on the male side.
Yes.
And there haven't been, just historically in the industry, there haven't been a lot. There's been a few, Booker T, maybe one of the more celebrated ones. Talk to me about the importance of that.
The fact that AEW is still within 4 or 5 years of its age, I'd probably be the fastest one to the growth of a company. We could probably check the records on that. But there's also never been anyone that's looked like me, done this quite like me. The mogul persona that you see on camera is not just a gimmick, it's what I actually do. And doing it at the age that I am, the demographic that I push for, that I truly try to promote and stand for, I think that's really important to do it now in this day and age.
I want to talk about some of the things, how you got here. One of the things that people talk about is Lucha Underground.
Yeah.
What was that experience like? Why do you think Lucha didn't do better?
It was definitely it wasn't Wrestling Minds that were running the shows, more movies and cinema and MGM and partnerships with other movie studios and stuff. That was just there was television based with a wrestling promotion inside of it, not a wrestling promotion within itself. I think if there was more Wrestling Minds that were attached to it and invested into it, it probably would have grown and survived longer than just the 4 seasons. But the 4 seasons we have are very impactful. You see a lot of great talents that come from that. I came from it. You had a Penta, Brian Cage's come from that. Just a slew of talent that came from Lucha Underground.
You're working with Brian Cage a lot now?
I am.
What's it like to have Brian back with you at your side?
It's better to have him with you than
I would
against
imagine.
you, for sure. He's a machine, for sure. This is our first time actually being a team together. But man, he was a force, and he still is to this day. And he's only getting better as he grows and as he ages. He's still looks the same, and he still looks like a monster.
So, as much as you've had success, we can't ignore Prince Nana.
No, I don't think anybody can at this point.
No, it's taken off. Are you surprised how much he's taken off? I mean, actually, let me interrupt. Guys, I don't know if you've got the video, if you can put it up, that video of him at the Jaguars games. The Jaguars game.
Yeah.
So you go out and they play your music. You do a little Prince Nana dance there. Talk to me a little about this experience, and then I want to get back to Prince Nana. But what happened at the Jaguars game there?
That was a complete and utter surprise. Like, I was being walked to the field by one of the assistants of the Jaguars. He was just like, yeah, actually, we're going to have your song play around this time. And I was like, wait, what? Like, and seeing some of the players on both sides, like the home team and the visiting team, were both vibing and dancing to it, was mind-blowing to me on their warm-ups. You had, like, Lil Duval, big comedian.
Yeah.
On the other side, I didn't even know he was there, but I see on social media, he's on the other side of the field. He's jumping around dancing to it. It's an infectious sound. Apparently, so the producer to this song, we made the song about a year ago in LA. He was, he's won 2 Grammys ever since we made the song for his work on the Kanye and Donda album. Apparently that beat was made for Rihanna and it never got it to her. He's like, no, this sounds like it's made for you guys. So
you're not going to turn down something that was made for Rihanna.
Which I just found out that information like last week.
Okay.
So that's news to me.
Yeah.
And the song's been playing for a year. But that's the funny thing about timing. You just like, you keep going. You keep playing the song, keep playing the song, keep playing the song. Some point it's going to like take off and the record's going to break. And Nana was what broke the record, in my opinion. That's him putting a visual dance to it weekly, week after week, city after city. TikTok, social media.
Well,
Instagram,
let me talk. We were just going through TikTok,
Yeah.
and I had my social media producer with me. I'm like, type in Prince Nana dance. It's everywhere.
Yeah.
How did you know that was going to take off like it did?
No, I didn't. There was like one point he did a IG reel. It was just him in the hotel like playing around with the song, and it just like he posted it on social media and Twitter and like IG, and it just like went everywhere. And then like you seeing like Jeff Jarrett on his podcast doing it. You seeing Eric Bischoff on his podcast.
I did not see Bischoff was doing it.
Bischoff was doing it. I was like, okay, so they are watching. Now, much as they say like, oh, I didn't see that, I didn't notice that. I'm like, okay, you're doing the dance, so you did see something. You know? And he's an infectious personality, and I don't want to like I don't want to deter that. I want him to just do bigger. I'm like, how do we blow it up even more? Full gear. Let's give you dancers, and you be in the middle and just like dancing with the dancers and stuff. And like, just honestly, I think the biggest was when we did Arthur Ashe Stadium in New York. And like, I came out in the middle of the match during the Young Bucks and the 6-man tag, and everybody just stopped and like, there's the song. There it is.
That's all they care about.
Yeah, and Nana just like looked around and then just hit it, and like you're seeing this like almost 20,000 people just doing the dance, like on this like this fan camera blowing it up and just seeing that. That's where I was like, okay, we have something here.
You've been in wrestling a long time. Stuff like that may seem ridiculous at first. The people's elbow comes to mind, something like that, just ridiculous. But the crowd pops, and when you've got it, do you just know?
Yeah, you'll know. You'll know. And when it's kids that are replicating you, it's like, okay, we got something here.
Yeah.
And then when the kids make the adults replicate it because the adults want to dance with their children. They want to make their kids happy and stuff like that. And I'm not a good person on camera. I'm the very devious individual. But something about Nana can be that conduit, that lightning rod to connect with the fans in a way.
So you mentioned Arthur Ashe Stadium, we mentioned London. You spent a lot of time in the Indies. Talk to me about the difference in the crowds in a high school gym versus 80,000 people.
To me, that's our exercises. That's our figuring out who we are. And you're not going to figure it out.
Is the high school gym worth it?
Oh, yeah. I feel like...
Because you see it. I mean, I see it as a fan, and I've honestly never gone to a lot of indie shows. I've been to a few. And I see it, and I look at it, and I'm like, is it worth it?
Yes.
But it is.
It is. That's our exercises. It's like the size of, it's almost like you still get, you still work out, no matter if it's at a Gold's Gym compared to a hotel gym. You still are sweating and exercising. And that's where you truly build your craft and you build your connection and you build like your persona. That's who you are. It's building and it's like connecting with, and those you don't know, those fans will be like, those 50 people might be the difference between selling out a stadium in an arena just because they saw you at this 100-seater gym. That, like, doing that time and time again, city after city after city, these fans, you want to ingrain in their mind, like, you matter, no matter the size. And those people, you can change their life and impact them till they'll follow you no matter where you go. They'll fly overseas to London to help sell it out because you connected with them in that day.
What are cities you like? I mean, where's some cities
Seattle.
you like to wrestle?
Seattle's like my favorite city.
That's where I'm from.
ever.
Okay, yeah, I know it quite well. Yeah.
Yeah, Washington Hall, Defy Wrestling. Shout out Jim and Matt Farmer over there for helping build that place. Now, like, Seattle's like alive and well with the wrestling scene. Healthy, very healthy wrestling scene.
Yeah.
So definitely Seattle's one of my favorite places. Texas always gets loud. Very loud.
Really? You know, Texas loves their wrestling.
Austin and Dallas are like really live audiences, man.
Do you like playing babyface or heel?
Oh, I like the villain. I love being.
You love the villain.
I love poking and seeing how much I can like really take from somebody. I love really like pushing the envelope and that kind of thing.
I want to get your opinion. Well, let me actually. I don't want to forget Keith Lee.
Yeah.
Are you guys done yet?
From what I'm speculating, what I'm seeing, how he's talking and who he's talking to on Collision, I don't feel like he's done with me. And it's interesting timing that he's choosing to just like rekindle this whole thing. That's what I see.
Will you take whatever he throws at you?
I'm focused on Gold. He's focused on me. That's what I'm saying.
Interesting.
That's
Have you surpassed him then in that regard, do you think?
I believe so.
You
I
think
believe so.
Okay. I want to ask you about another guy. Probably one of the guys who's most heavily debated on social media in the wrestling world is your boss, Tony Khan. What's he like? There's so much noise about him in the wrestling world, the fans and people just speculating. You deal with him on a one-on-one basis. What's he like? I mean, he's got a lot on his shoulders. He's got a growing company. And
he has the personality of someone who has a lot, juggling a lot, but at the same time, he's super passionate about pro wrestling and AEW. This doesn't feel like someone who's just doing this just to pass the time. This is someone who's like, no, I'm in this. I'm in this.
You don't think this is something that like a Dixie Carter and a TNA or something, this just isn't working for me?
No, this is someone who's like truly, he's still learning as he's going too. He's like, he admits mistakes and he corrects them and he moves forward. And he's like, oh, we've done this before and it didn't go as we planned. That doesn't mean I'm going to stop and take those lessons and applying them later on.
How does he deal with the criticism in the business? Because you've got everyone and their uncle wants to be an armchair booker.
Oh, for sure.
On AEW.
Yeah.
Does he deal with that okay?
I believe so. I believe so. And nobody has done it like this in this day and age with vocal opinions out there. Anybody can have one. You know, to start a promotion this big, this fast, and rise this quick in the social media age, nobody's ever done that. So he is the first. He's like truly one of the pioneers of this right now. So of course the first is really going to be taking a lot of shots, and he's enduring it, and he's keeping moving.
Is he one of the reasons that drew you to AEW? Because you were elsewhere. You were elsewhere before.
Oh yeah. But the fact that like he believed in me, he still believes in me, and he still believes he's going to keep believing in me, and he's giving me a platform to show that he believes in me. He's like, if anything, he noticed that I'm heating up, and he just keeps adding more and more fire to me. You know, that's somebody you want to work for. He knows I'm somebody who wants to like turn this 100 million to 200 million. I want to turn this 200 million to 300 million. I don't want to take from the 100 until it goes to 70, till it goes to 60 to 50. That's why a lot of like businesses have gone away, because there's talent that there was talent that always wanted to just take from what this big pie they offered instead of wanting to grow it to make more for everybody.
What's the mood in the locker room? Historically in wrestling, we've seen good locker rooms and we've seen bad locker rooms. In the industries like that. What's the general mood in the locker room as far as?
I have no problems with the locker room. I have a great affiliation with everybody in the locker room.
Everyone's kind of on board with the mission, you think?
Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. Everybody's looking forward to what's next, and that's what you want. You know, not everybody's like wrestling on the now. Everybody's looking forward to World's End and December 30th. Then they're looking forward to, Revolution March 3rd. Then we're looking forward to the next All In. How do we do bigger? How do we do different? How do we do more unique? How do we shake things up and like bring another big punch to the industry again?
I saw you guys took a hit. Kenny Omega's down and out for looks like a little while right now. Dealing with some medical issues. How do you fill that void?
You're looking at him.
You think you're the Kenny Omega?
I think I'm the first Swerve Strickland.
Let me phrase it differently. You think in that void, you're a good person who can fill that void?
I think I'm one of the best options.
Really?
Not just in AEW, but in the industry.
How has it changed for you from being mid-card status, I mean, just in your life, to where you're at now?
Lifestyle-wise, I try to maintain the same. That's what got me to the dance. Why change up now? I don't feel like I need to change because of this. I feel like this will offer change eventually, but I'm still climbing. I'm still working towards it.
Now, you grew up all over the world, right?
Yeah.
You were a military family?
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah, former, yeah.
So, did that help with kind of the wrestling world because you live on the road?
Yeah.
As opposed to someone who just grew up in the same city their whole life?
The only difference is now I'm just traveling by myself, opposed to my mom and my dad and all that stuff. But I was pretty much it was ingrained to me to be on planes and traveling and being adapting to different cultures as well and different people and being able to just be an amoeba and absorb everything with how things are done in this way compared to being in this culture, being in this city, being in this country, being in this side of the country and all that stuff. That was really early on to me, and I never felt like I was out of place anywhere. I felt like I was okay, I'll eventually learn how to adapt it with the way of doing things and not being so stubborn and stuck into my ways. No, we can do it your way too.
So you're pretty adaptive because I saw you were on with a friend of mine just for TV stuff. You're on a friend of mine in Portland. Yeah. I've seen you doing TV all over the country as AEW kind of rolls you out as one of its main faces to move forward. What's that process been like? Are you adapting to that process pretty well?
Oh, yeah.
Having to deal with the mainstream stuff?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's been awesome. I love being in front of the camera. I love introducing myself and having people learn me and feel me in a different light. I love doing work for AEW. I love pushing the product like this, and I love seeing the joy that I have for the company. I want to share that joy with them.
How did you decide on the name Swerve?
Big Sean song back in the day.
Okay.
Yeah. Like I said, I've been a fan of the good music and Kanye and all of that era. And Mercy, the song Mercy, is where I thought it was so slick and cool. Mm-hmm. And I always liked the boxing nicknames, like I Sugar Shane Mosley. So I was it's Shane Swerve Strickland. So I kind of went with that bounce of, the gimmick of it.
What would you say a difference is working in AEW versus when you worked in WWE? Is it the same? Would you say it's different?
There's similar elements to it, but it's the creativity, it's the opportunity to give nuance and just do different and go in a different way. There's a lot more trust. You still got to grow your equity with gaining trust to perform on camera the way that you want to perform. Mm-hmm. But just having the one-on-one time with Tony is a world of difference.
You wouldn't have had that elsewhere?
You could have, but it would have taken a long time to gain that.
Okay.
But for me, it was me and Tony just hit it right off the map, being at like the outside ventures, like being able to do these kind of things, but also being able to like just jump in the studio, put my music video on my Titantron, and come out to that. To like, I don't think I would have those opportunities this quick, that fast, with a big pressure with Nana and Flash Garments and the entrances and the DJ Who Kid coming out with me at Wembley, to even do a Wembley, you know, to do Arthur Ashe. Those opportunities wouldn't have came so quick any other place. It was like lightning in a bottle at AEW, and AEW like truly just gives you the opportunity to really push that and like, oh, this is doing really well. You're not like breaching any contracts. You're not hurting anybody. You're not doing anything like stepping on toes. Why not? Let's do it. Let's blow it up. Actually, let's do it more. We can add these things to it, and we can get it on this network and this channel, and have so-and-so get involved with all this stuff. And I'm like, okay, cool. And then you can do that all within a month and a half. It's like, AEW and a Tony Khan actually like, he cherishes that kind of stuff.
What does Chris Jericho mean to AEW?
Icon, true icon.
I mean, he's been there since day one, never left.
Yep. And for me, Jericho is like one of the pioneers for being able to do all these kind of things, all these multimedia things, and
because he does music
wrestling.
too.
Yeah, he's been doing it for so long too.
Yeah.
You know, and he's grown it independently with Fozzy, a cruise, you know, to be able to do those things. It's like, you look up to guys like that. For me, I did. I know I still do, for his work ethic and how much he's doing, and to really change the game. And he still does it on a weekly basis, like how Judas took off the way it did. And just like, yeah, like I'm like, man, I want that too.
So music will remain something you're going to be heavily involved in?
Oh, 100%.
Does wrestling enhance your options?
Wrestling has enhanced my life. It's done everything for me. It's the reason I'm here. I'll always have my passion for it.
And last question, you can't tell me who the AEW devil is, can you?
I wouldn't know.
I had to ask. Had to throw it in there.
I wouldn't know.
It's the talk of the internet.
Yeah, it's compelling television. It keeps you watching.
Yeah. So what's next for you in 2024? You're focused on the tournament right now.
Yeah.
Focus on gold. Focus on the title. That's kind of where you're at right now.
That's where I'm at right now with Continental Classic and stuff. But you're seeing the rest of the Mogul Embassy doing great things. They just came back from Japan. You just had Toa Leon and Bishop Khan just finish out their World Tag League tournament in New Japan against Okada and Tanahashi, the two legends over there.
Yeah.
So that's huge for them. Now to see what they're doing, like to bring what they've learned and all their experience and their newfound confidence back to AEW, and to be able to harness that with a Brian Cage who's like heating up right now, myself who's like on a title hunt and like really changing the game right now on television. In 2024, we're going to be a force. That's all I got to say.
That works. Swerve Strickland, it has been an absolute pleasure. Thanks for sitting down, taking all the time with us today.
No problem. Thank you.
Thanks again, Swerve. So we're so glad Swerve could sit down with us and talk about everything in his career, and what a lightning in a bottle of a year 2023 has been his career. Going from that mid-card wrestler who'd done a lot of independent shows to becoming one of the prime faces of this global company, performing in front of 80,000 fans at Wembley Stadium. Really a feather in the cap for AEW. We're going to be hoping to hear a lot more from the AEW stars here in coming weeks as they come back to our area, Jacksonville, Florida, where we are. So we'll have more of them coming up. But so grateful Swerve could sit down with us and talk about what is becoming a legendary career for this ring veteran who has really the world in front of him. We'll be watching. So thanks for joining us for another episode of Going Ringside. We'll see you back here next week.
This has been Going Ringside with The Local Station, brought to you every Wednesday on your favorite podcast player, on News4Jax Plus, as well as the News4Jax YouTube channel.